Hey there, folks. Today we're diving into a topic that's on many minds of individuals approaching retirement: how to apply for Social Security benefits online or in person. Now, you might be thinking, Kyle, isn't that process pretty complicated? Well, I've got good news for you. It's actually pretty straightforward. Whether you're planning to claim early at 62 or delay until 70 for those bigger checks.
This is Retire Ready, where we break down retirement planning and make it easy to understand so you can live your golden years to the fullest. Planning your retirement starts now with your host, Kyle Hammerschmidt.
So let's face it, Social Security is a crucial part of most retirement plans, and understanding how to navigate the application process is key to ensuring you don't leave any money on the table. That's why I'm excited to walk you through the steps today, keeping things simple and actionable just the way we like it here on Retire Ready. In this episode, we'll cover everything you need to know about applying for Social Security. We'll talk about timing your first benefit payment, what documents you need to gather, and whether you should apply online or in person. We'll also touch on some important decisions you'll need to make, like whether to have taxes withheld from your benefits. And don't worry, I'll show you how to check your application status once you've actually submitted it. By the end of the episode, you'll have a clear roadmap for your Social Security application journey. Now, just remember, while the application process itself is pretty simple, deciding when to start your benefits is more a complex decision that can have a big impact on your retirement income. So let's get started and start demystifying the Social Security application process together. All right, so let's talk about timing your first Social Security benefit payment. That is a crucial decision that can significantly impact your retirement income. You can apply for benefits up to 4 months before you want to start. So if you're turning 62 in July and you want to start receiving benefits right away, you can apply as early as March. But remember, starting early means a permanent reduction in your monthly benefit forever. One of the most popular questions I get from many pre-retirees is, Kyle, when should we start claiming our Social Security benefits? Or when should we? So I'm going to take you to a house, meet John and Sarah Smith. John's 62, Sarah's 60, and they're trying to figure out this whole Social Security puzzle. Sound familiar? I want to break it down and keep it simple. So John's itching to claim his benefits right now at 62. He figures, hey, why not start getting that money now? But here's the catch. If John claims early, his monthly check would be about $1,500 instead of $2,000 he'd get at his full retirement age of 67. That's a 25% cut he'll have to live with for the rest of his life. Now, Sarah's got a different idea. She's thinking, what if we tighten our belts and delay? For every year that they delay past full retirement age, their benefit grows by 8%. By waiting until 70, John's monthly check could jump up to $2,480. That's nearly $1,000 more per month than if you were to claim it at 62. But here's the $1,000,000 question. When do the Smiths break even? If John lives past 80, even with all those green smoothies Sarah's makes him drink every day, he might, but he'll come out ahead by waiting. That's where the longevity insurance policy comes in with Uncle Sam. Now, let's stir the pot with spousal benefits. Sarah didn't work as much as John, so she's eyeing that spousal benefit up to 50% of John's full retirement amount. But remember, John needs to file for his own benefit first before Sarah can claim spousal benefits. So what's the game plan for the Smiths? They're considering having John wait until 70 to maximize his benefit, while Sarah might claim earlier on her smaller amount at 62, then switch to the spousal benefit or add-on when John files. This way they can get some income earlier, but still take advantage of that 8% annual increase on John's larger benefit. Always remember, there's no one-size-fits-all approach. Your Social Security strategy should be a part of your overall retirement plan. It's about looking at your health, your savings, your retirement goals, just like John and Sarah are doing. What are our tax strategies we need to implement? Where are we at today versus where we would be in the future? So when exactly will I get my first Social Security check? Let's break it down. As simple as I can make this, your first check won't arrive until the month after the month you pick to start your application. So I know it's sounds a bit confusing, but stick with me here. Let's say you're like my client, Bob. Bob's turning 66 in July. He figures, great, I'll apply for Social Security and start getting checks in July. But hold your horses, Bob. If you want that first check in July, you need to pick June as your start month when you apply. Now, here's where it gets interesting. You can actually apply up to 4 months before the month you want your benefits to start. So if Bob wants his benefits to really start in June, remember to get that first check in July, he could apply as early as February. Like, why would Bob want to do that? Well, it's about avoiding gaps in your income. So let's say Bob's planning to retire from his job at the end of June. If he waits until June to apply, he might not see his first Social Security check until August or even September. That's a long time to go without any income from Social Security. By applying early, Bob ensures there's no gap between his last paycheck and then his first Social Security check. It's like changing lanes on the highway. You want a smooth transition, not just a jarring stop and go. Here's a pro tip. When you're filling out your application, pay close attention to the question about when you want your benefits to start. This is where a lot of folks get kind of tripped up. If you want your first check in July, you need to select June as your start month. It's counterintuitive, I know, but like that's just how the system works. Remember, timing is everything when it comes to Social Security. It's not just about when you start receiving those benefits, but also how this timing fits into your overall retirement and tax plan. Will you have enough savings to maybe bridge any gaps to delay? How will this affect your tax situation in the current year and following? These are the kind of questions we tackle every day at Mocan Wealth, but we help folks like Bob really create comprehensive tax efficient plans that take all these factors into account. If you're feeling a bit overwhelmed by all this, don't worry. That's what we're here for. So why not check out our Retire Ready Academy or even schedule an intro call with myself to talk more about this. We'll help you navigate the Social Security maze and really create a retirement plan that's tailored just for you. The next thing you need to do is gather all your information when you apply for your Social Security. So let's start with a quick story. I had a client, and I'm going to call her Linda, who thought applying for Social Security would be a breeze, and it kind of is. She showed up at the local SSA office confident she really had everything she needed. It really turned out she was missing half of the required information. So that's like, we want to talk about a really frustrating morning. So let's make sure you don't end up like Linda. So here's your Social Security application checklist. First, let's focus on the basics: your Social Security number and your birth certificate if you have it handy. If you're married, your spouse's Social Security number and the date of birth, your marriage certificate if you're currently married, and then your children's birth certificates if they are under the age of 18. Now let's talk about your work history. Your W-2 forms or self-employment tax returns for last year. If you have military service, get those together for if you served before 1968. A list of employers and dates of employment for the past 2 years for those of you who have been married before. Your former spouse's Social Security number, and then the dates of your marriage and divorce. Don't forget about your bank information. Your bank information is important because you need your bank account number, a routing number for direct deposit. Now, here's a pro tip. Even if you're planning to apply online, gather all this information beforehand. It will just make this process of applying a lot smoother when you kind of log into your account to start the process. You don't have to start and stop. So next, we'll talk about applying for benefits online or in person. You need to create a sign-in to your My Social Security account when you start the online application process. Many of you have already done this. It's free. This is what helps you manage your Social Security benefits by reviewing your earnings history and then checking the status of your application and print your 1099. Now, applying online for your Social Security benefits is the easiest way that I've seen and the most convenient way to apply. You can move at your own pace and like save your application as you go, so you can take a breath at any time if you want. The Social Security Administration estimates it takes about 10 to 30 minutes to complete the online application, depending on the complexity of your situation. But really, I've seen like 10 to even less than 10 minutes. Applying in person, really, you can apply with assistance by making an appointment. Appointments are made by calling 1-800-772-1213. An agent will really assist you by scheduling your appointment, and then they'll determine whether it'll be on the phone or in person. And then really the next step is deciding whether or not to withhold taxes. To withhold or not to withhold, that's a big question. The Social Security tax dilemma. Should I withhold taxes from my Social Security checks? Kind of depends on what type of tax strategy you've been doing. But first off, let's use Tom and Barbara. They're really about to start their Social Security benefits. They're wondering if they should have taxes withheld. Tom and Barbara really are considering a few things here. Will their combined income make their Social Security benefits taxable? Question number one. Do they have other sources of retirement income? That's question number 2. Can they afford to have taxes withheld from their checks? That's question number 3. I just tell people, for most individuals, depending on the planning you've done, up to 85% of your Social Security benefits could be taxable depending on your total income. For Tom and Barbara, their combined income, that's adjusted gross income plus non-taxable interest plus half of their Social Security benefits, is over $44,000. This means that they'll likely owe taxes on 85% of their benefits. Now, really, they have 2 choices. The 2 choices for everybody is have taxes withheld from their Social Security checks or make quarterly estimated tax payments on your own. Now, understand that if you're going to choose to withhold, they're going to have to fill out a special form, which is a W-4V. This is where you tell the Social Security Administration how much to withhold. Here's what you can choose from: 7, 10, 12, and 22% on your monthly benefits. So for Tom and Barbara, they decided to have 12% federal tax withheld. They figured it's better to have a steady withholding than to worry about making quarterly payments and facing big tax bills in April. Now, there's more. Depending on where Tom and Barbara live, they might also owe state and local taxes on their Social Security benefits. For example, if they're going to live in Colorado, their benefits would be subject to income tax. But if they moved to Florida, they'd avoid state taxes altogether. So you have to keep in mind, keep an eye on your total tax bill, your situation throughout the year. You might need to adjust your holdings or make adjusted payments to avoid underpayment penalties. Always keep in mind that Roth IRA or qualified distributions are tax-free. Don't count towards your provisional income. And why is that important? Because provisional income determines how much of your Social Security gets taxed. So again, let's say we got Jane. She's a client. She's pulling $20,000 a year from her Roth IRA each year. That money doesn't show up on her tax return, and it doesn't push her Social Security into a higher tax bracket. It's like getting a raise without the extra tax hit. The Social Security Administration is really processing millions of applications. But if you haven't heard anything after 30 days of applying, it might be time to give them a call. When you call and you hear, "Hey, how can I help you today?" say application status. This will help you check the application status to see where you're at. Again, the bottom line is the process of applying for Social Security benefits isn't too complicated. You can do it yourself online or with assistance from a representative of Social Security. But again, until next time, this is Kyle Hammerschmidt reminding you, you need a better plan, not a bigger balance.
You've been listening to Retire Ready with Kyle Hammerschmidt. Planning your retirement starts now. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon.